I now declare the 2015 Brattleboro Union High School District meeting to be in order. Everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for just a moment. As is our custom since I've been the high school district moderator, we have lost quite a few people in our district in the past year, and please stand and remember them in your own way with a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. Now a couple of opening announcements, one of which is someone left a set of keys in the men's room. Please, if these are your keys or you find you can't start your car later, come see us. We'll take care of you, make you a great deal on a car. All voters who are registered within the 5 towns, Brattleboro, Vernon, Guilford, Putney, and Dummerston, were handed a voter card when they came in, when they registered with their town clerk. If you wish to be recognized, please hold that up so we can see you. I will say that even with the size of the crowd tonight, my eyesight is not what it once was, so please make sure we can see you, and therefore you shall be seen. Other district instructions: those wishing to be part of the meeting, as you've seen, enter by the way of the parking lot and register with your town clerk. All voters, please sit in the reserved sections. District clerks will be appointed to serve as tellers of elections and to count ballots upon division of the House. And all others shall be seated in the areas designated for observers and visitors. We'll appoint one or more sergeants at arms this evening. Seeing that no member of the law enforcement community has chosen to make their presence, I would appoint on an honorary basis Mr. Marshall Wheelock, because he's taller than the rest of us, and Marshall demands a certain amount of respect, so there you have it. Voting in all matters shall be by voice, by division of the voters, or by paper ballot. A division shall be had at the moderator's discretion or upon the demand of 6 or more voters. A vote by paper ballot shall be had upon demand of 7 or more voters. If you've spoken at least once on a question, you shall not again be allowed the floor, to the exclusion of another who has not yet spoken, without the leave of the voters. Now, to gain the floor again, rise, hold up your voter card, you'll be recognized. There are microphone runners who will be running around with portable microphones. Please raise your hands over there. All right, thank you. I'll wait until you get a microphone, because this is being recorded for Brattleboro Community TV. State your name and the town that you're from, and then you'll be recognized, and we'll go on about our business. Debate shall be limited to 5 minutes per person speaking for the first time on any article, with the exclusion of someone explaining a motion. And on the motion of any voter, we can resolve ourselves into a committee of the whole on any pending question. We're governed by Robert's Rules of Order, except as indicated tonight, and unless there's objection from the body, we shall declare these rules re-ratified. Any objection? So be it. The rules have been re-ratified. Other opening announcements: groups are selling refreshments outside the German and Swiss exchanges, and they're also selling raffle tickets for a $100 gift certificate at Duo Restaurant, owned by BUHS graduate Stephanie Bonin and her husband. Great to see a graduate of BUHS come back and do good in our community. And again, the microphone pastors tonight, Oliver Eustis and Kanisha Toll. Thank you all. Let's give them a round of applause for their service. With all that, and of course, you know where the exits are, you know where the restrooms are. If not, ask one of the administrators. I think they know the way around the building by now. We will move on to Article 1, to act on reports of the officers. Is there a motion on the floor?
Moderator.
That would be Mrs. Barton.
Correct. I move that the
Get closer, please. Get closer to the microphone. Thank you.
I move that the reports of the district officers be accepted as printed.
Do we have a second? Moved and seconded, the reports of the district officers be accepted as printed. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 1 as read, please say aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. You've passed Article 1. For Article 2, to elect by ballot a moderator, I would ask that Superintendent of Schools Ron Staley come up to handle discussion on this article.
I'd like to call for nominations for the position of moderator.
Mr. Moderator, I would like to nominate Tim Arsenal as moderator for the ensuing year.
Okay. Any other nominations for the position of moderator? Seeing none, I'd like to entertain the motion on a voice vote for moderator Tim Arsenault. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. So we'll turn the meeting back over to moderator Tim Arsenault.
Yes. I have a few comments to say thank you, but first I'd like Mr. Staley to stick around long enough to introduce members of the administration, and then I'll have Mr. Woodworth, our high school board chairman, introduce members of the board. All right, Mr. Staley.
Thank you. And this is your 16th year as moderator, I understand. Congratulations. So I'd like to introduce the members of the administration. We have the high school principal, Steve Perrin, Dean of Students, Kate Margaitis, Assistant Principal, Andy Haas, Assistant Principal, Chris Day. For the middle school, the Brattleboro Area Middle School, Principal Keith Lyman, Associate Principal Jerry Curry, Director of Special Ed for BUHS number 6 is Alicia Brandon, and our Career Center Director, Michael Burnett. Thank you.
Chair would also like to recognize the school board chair, Bob Woodworth, for purposes of introducing board members. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Microphone switch on, if you would, Woody. On the microphone. Bring it forward. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
The Verizon man says yes.
First, at the end of the table, Ruth Barton from Dummerston. Next, Mike Collier representing Vernon. Melanie Fletcher from Putney. Lori Cartwright, Brattleboro. Ian Torrey, Brattleboro. Russ Janis, Brattleboro. And Sean Murphy representing Guilford.
Thank you, Mr. Woodworth. Just want to express my appreciation to the rare opportunity all of you have given me to serve again. 4 simple rules to live by. 1, be careful what you ask for, because no good deed in life goes unpunished. Secondly, do what you love, but realize there are days that you will not love it. And don't post anything on Facebook that would get you fired during one of those bad days. Thirdly, hard work is nowhere listed in the list of 7 dirty words that George Carlin says you can't say on radio and TV. And fourthly, please leave your world a little better than what you found it. So again, thank you for your support. And with that, we'll move on to Article number 3, to elect by ballot a clerk. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Moderator, I nominate Barbara Nowakowski as clerk to serve for the ensuing year.
Ms. Fletcher nominates Barbara Nowakowski as clerk for the ensuing year. Do we have a second? Any other nominations? I move nominations be closed. All those in favor of the nomination of Barbara Nowakowski as district clerk, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. You have passed Article 3. Article number 4, to elect by ballot a treasurer. Is there a motion? Ms. Cartwright.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I nominate Frank Rucker as treasurer to serve for the ensuing year.
Do we have a second? Second. Moved and seconded that Frank Rucker be nominated as treasurer for the ensuing year. Any other nominations? Seeing none, all those in favor of Frank Rucker as treasurer to serve for the ensuing year, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. You have passed Frank Rucker as treasurer. Article number 5, to elect by ballot one auditor to serve for a period of 3 years. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Torrey.
I nominate Richard DeGray as auditor to serve for a period of 3 years.
There a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded that Richard DeGray serve as auditor for a period of 3 years. Any other nominations? Seeing none, the motion is that Richard DeGray be voted as auditor to serve for a period of 3 years. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. You have passed Article number 5. We now move to Article number 6, to see what salaries Brattleboro Union High School District number 6 will vote to pay officers and directors. Do we have a motion?
Yes, we do.
Mr. Janis.
Yes, thank you. I move that the Brattleboro Union High School District Number 6 be authorized to issue vouchers for the payment of its officers and directors for the ensuing fiscal year in the following amounts. To its clerk, the sum of $200, to its directors, the sum of $2,000 each, except that the chair shall be paid an additional $1,000 for a total of $19,200.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded that Brattleboro Union High School District Number 6 be authorized to issue vouchers for the payment of its officers and directors for the ensuing fiscal year in the following amounts. To its clerk, the sum of $200. To its directors, the sum of $2,000 each, except that the chairman shall be paid an additional $1,000 for a total of $19,200. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, we will call for a vote on the question. All those in favor of Article 6 as read, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. You have passed Article 6. We move to Article number 7, to see if the voters will authorize the use of a portion of the reserve fund for the year ending June 30th, 2014, in the amount of $875,000 to defray expenses for FY 2016, as noted in the proposed budget for 2015-2016. Do we have a motion? Mr. Woodworth.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the voters shall authorize the use of a portion of the reserve fund for the year ended June 30th, 2014, in the amount of $875,000 to defray expenses for fiscal year 2016, as noted in the proposed budget for fiscal 2015-16. And if seconded, I would like to address the motion.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded that the voters shall authorize the use of a portion of the reserve fund for the year ended June 30th, 2014, in the amount of $875,000 to defray expenses for FY 2016, as noted in the proposed budget for 2015-2016. Mr. Woodworth, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I would like to refer you to page 40 in the big book, or if you're using the summary book, page 8. And I will make an opening comment and then ask if I could yield the floor to Mr. Rucker to go through the fund balance. This number that we're asking for is a number that came about after quite a bit of discussion and figuring out where we're going to end up the past year, this current year, and sensitive to the tax rate and trying to prevent the tax rate from going up any more than it absolutely has to. And by the same token, it is important to maintain a fund, and we felt that this was a prudent use of that money to help keep the tax rate down. And I would like to ask Mr. Rucker to go through the basics of the fund so it's clear on page 40 or
Chair is
page 8 in the small book.
yielding the floor to Mr. Rucker.
Okay, thank you. As you see on page 40, we ended the fiscal year as of June.
A little closer, please, Frank.
Oh, yes, there we
Thank
go. June of 2014, we ended the fiscal year with a total reserve of $3,999,491. However, there have been several commitments of those funds, and they are listed on page 40, as Mr. Woodworth has outlined. $308,000 for capital. That's from previous votes from this body. $750,000 has been committed in the current year budget. If you look at page 40 and you look at 2014-15 column in that document, you see the $750 is planned to be returned this year through June of 2015. Then we have, as Mr. Woodworth has indicated, scheduled $875,000 of that fund balance to be applied against the appropriation so that we reduce taxes. When you subtract those figures from the $3,999,000, we are left with $2,065,000. And we feel that that's an appropriate reserve as we look ahead to fiscal year 17, 18, 19. What the board often faces in December as we're doing planning is changes in the funding formula that are not predictable, that have a direct effect on the tax rate. So what's in the news now, often you'll hear the statewide property tax being recommended by the governor, discussion by the legislature. It's set at $1 this year for the projected for fiscal year 16. That's up 2 cents from the current year. 2 cents on a statewide property tax is about $400,000. That's the equivalent dollar amount. So in terms of having a reserve available that could mitigate, you may recall last year the legislature and the governor were discussing increasing the tax rate by 7 cents. So if 2 cents is 400,000, 7 cents is almost twice that. Now you're going towards 600,000-700,000. So those are the variables that the board is trying to address in managing a stable tax rate. The other factor, of course, is spending and revenue as well. We don't control the number of tuition students we receive. At times, state aid is changed. Again, has an effect on the calculation of the tax rate. And finally, the CLA, as you're aware in your individual towns, fluctuates quite a bit. The common level of appraisal, again, that's a direct effect on the tax rate that we don't control. That's subject to the real estate market and your listers' activity from year to year. And that variation often is a 2% effect. Some of your towns you're seeing a larger effect this year. Again, 2%, 400,000. So those are the sort of the magnitude of changes that we don't control, but we try to have a reserve to address
financial stability while maintaining an excellent program. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article number 7? Again, if you have questions for the administration, please address the chair, and we will have them interrogated appropriately. Gentleman with his hand up, please get up a microphone.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'd like to welcome our new business manager, Frank Rucker. I had the opportunity to meet him when we did our
Pardon me, I
audit
just want to
review.
make sure that you identify yourself.
Oh, Dick DeGray, yeah.
Thank you.
I want to welcome you to the district. In fact, our meeting was very informative. My question for you here is that the unassigned fund balance of 586, which that occurred after the spending and revenues generated for this year, they are included in this $2,065,000?
The board and/or administration is interrogated. Mr. Rucker.
Yes, so if we look at the audit report, that it helps identify the breakdown of fund balance, and in this audit report toward the back of the big book, if we look at page 13, it shows our balance sheet, and then also I'll throw another number out at you, page 33, a little more detailed. So maybe if we go to page 33 of the audit report, which is the back of the book. The first section is the budget, and then the second half of the book is the audit report by Tyler Sims, CPA. And what I'm referring you to is, Dick, as you has indicated, the total fund balance, if you go to the far right on that page 33, is $3,999,000. That's what we started with, and it is important that the audit matches what we're using for planning numbers. When you go to the first column in the left-hand side, Dick, you're referring to the $2,306,000. That is the General Education Reserve Fund, and then you just identified the 586 as a component of fund balance. So total fund balance is $3,999,000, of which there's a little bit for the auditorium reserve, there's $300,000 for the capital fund, and there is the $3,690,000 that I've just identified coming down to about $2 million. So by default, the state law says that when we plan fiscal year 17, we would apply that 586 against the budget, just as we applied the 875 this year. So unless the board considers warning an article, you'll see the 586, and that's subject to all the variations that we talked about in terms of statewide property tax, revenue changes, CLA adjustments, and so forth.
But the 586 is available for the body to use if they so choose to at this meeting in terms of this budget.
That's correct.
Okay. And one of the things that you were talking about with the proposed 2-cent increase to the state, what impact do you think there will be on the state rate if the governor decides to take monies from the lottery which go directly to the educational fund? That definitely will have an impact on the state tax rate, I would think. Your opinion?
Yeah, it is possible, but I don't have enough detail to make a good judgment as to the magnitude of that related to the general fund and the education fund at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion on Article number 7. And in the back of the room, the gentleman with his hand up.
Frog in my throat. Marshall Wheelock from Brattleboro. Relative to the $875,000 being used to decrease the tax rate this year, I would like to state that I do not favor that. One of the few things we, meaning primarily the folks right up there on the podium, can control is the rate of spending. And by paying out $875 now to hold the tax rate down, we're essentially going to be $875,000 behind the eight ball next year when it comes to planning our expenditures if we want to keep a flat tax rate. So I have a problem with expending large amounts each year to keep the tax rate even when the funds we're drawing against are a finite quantity. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion on Article number 7? And seeing none, the article as read was the motion that voters shall authorize use of a portion of the reserve fund for the year that ended June 30th, 2014, in the amount of $875,000 to defray expenses for FY 2016, as noted in the proposed budget for FY 2016. All those in favor of Article 7, as read, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The chair is in doubt. Maybe it's just my bad hearing, but I would like to have a standing division of the House, and could we get a couple of clerks up to count the ballots, if you would, please. All those in favor of Article 7, please rise with your voter card so we know that you are a voter. And let's wait for the clerks to come around. And again, thank you to our town clerks for doing this job tonight. Please be seated. All those against passage of Article number 7, please rise with your voter cards. We now know who the baritones are in the crowd. Please be seated. Listen now to the results of your vote. Those voting in support of Article number 7, 50. Those voting no, 8. We declare Article number 7 has been passed. We move now to Article number 8 to see if Brattleboro Union High School District number 6 will vote to appropriate a sum of money to defray expenses and liabilities for the ensuing year, and if so, how much? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Woodworth.
Thank you. I move that the Brattleboro Union High School District Number 6 appropriate the sum of $27,888,081 in order to defray its expenses and liability for the fiscal year 2015-16. If adopted, the portion of this total sum to be raised by taxes to be only that portion not received from revenues or from other sources. And if seconded, I would like to speak to the motion.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Moved and seconded that Brattleboro Union High School District Number 6 vote to appropriate the sum of $27,888,081 in order to defray its expenses and liabilities for the fiscal year 2015-2016. If adopted, the portion of the total sum to be raised by taxes to be only that portion not received from revenues or from other sources. Mr. Woodworth, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I would refer you to page 37 in the big book, the summary of the budget, and that shows the various units that make up the budget. I would like to just make some general comments, and then others can chip in, and if there are questions, we will answer them. This is the 8th consecutive year that the board has given administrators the charge to develop a level service budget and to be as close as possible to a level funding. We have experienced a decline in student population in recent years, as is common in Vermont. The good news is that this trend has leveled off, and for the 2016 budget year, we are projecting the high school and career center census to be stable, while the middle school continues to grow. We are mindful of our per pupil costs. Savings have been achieved by reallocating our human and physical resources between programs and amongst the 3 units: senior high, career center, and middle school. All programs have been reviewed for relevancy and efficiency. Discretionary spending in nearly all departments has been held level or reduced. Administrators have analyzed every cost center and challenged spending in every department. We have been able to reduce staffing costs, particularly in the high school and career center, through attrition. Our focus has been on controlling and reducing administrative expense while providing adequate resources for instructional expense. So in spite of all this cost control pressure, we've been able to continue important programs such as the dual enrollment, collegiate high school, and we've actually been able to initiate a program, innovative new program, the STEM and Arts Academies have fired up this year. We have no request for any funding in addition to the general operating budget in this year's meeting. We continue to invest in technology, security, and in maintaining this wonderful facility. Although you may note, if you read the detail in the district budget, that we propose to spend somewhat less next year on operations and maintenance, I assure you that we have a long-term plan in place and we will not fall into the deferred maintenance trap. The board is extremely pleased with the efforts of our administrators to develop a responsible budget, one that continues to provide the first-class innovative education that BUHS is known for, while being sensitive to the enormous pressure on taxpayers. And we hope you will approve this budget as presented. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Woodworth. Again, we're on Article number 8. Further discussion. Gentleman in the center of the room, wait for the microphone to come to you, sir. And again, state your name and your town.
Dick DeGray, Brattleboro. On page 76, you have $265,000 in the capital plan. And when I read the top of that, it says plan outlook. Is this money that is in the operating budget this year for these items?
The administration and/or school board is interrogated if it wishes. Mr. Woodworth.
The items that are listed in 2015-16 are included within our budget. The other items, as you move across, we started about 2 or 3 years ago to try to develop a capital plan and not just go along and when things came up, we found out if we had the money to do them. So the items for 2015-16 are within the budget, including the auditorium roof.
And one would say, why are we not using reserve funds to pay for these capital projects?
In the case of the auditorium roof replacement, we will utilize the monies that we have, or part of the monies that we have in the created capital reserve fund. The other items we can deal with directly through our operations and maintenance budget.
Well, if you're planning to do that, I guess I'm confused about the math, because the anticipated fund balance is $450,000, and your roof replacement is $140,000. Your total cost here are $251,000. So
That
I
leaves
guess I need a little further. I need a little further explanation as to, we have this capital fund, but one, I guess, would ask the moderator, or do we not need voter approval to access the fund that we created for an expenditure? We created the fund, but don't the voters have to approve what to spend that money on?
The administration may respond, and as far as the moderator's point, I'm not going to offer an opinion on anything since I'm not a lawyer. Mr. Woodworth.
Well, I'll let Mr. Rucker comment on this. The $140,000 is the auditorium roof replacement. That leaves $111,000. The $140,000 would be from the capital fund again that we've established, and my understanding is that that's within our purview to utilize that for that, unless I'm mistaken. Yeah.
Mr. Rucker.
Yeah, and Dick, just to also clarify, so you're referring to $450,000 as a projected balance as of June of 2015. So that's fiscal year 15. And on page 76, also the numbers you're referring to are for the 2016, the future period. So it would be, as you're correctly assuming, it would be 450,000 reserve would be reduced by that 125,000 share of the plan. So at the end of fiscal year 16, the 450 would be down to what's that, 325, and then we would carry on.
But that doesn't show that here.
Well, the periods are marked, and if you go back to the fund balance page we talked about in the audit, page 33, it's also illustrated there, and essentially verified by the auditors.
So I move that we take $251,000 out of the $586,878 for the capital planned expenditures.
Could we have that in writing, Mr. DeGray?
I can. You'll have to give me a minute.
We will give you a
You
piece
can
of...
go on and talk with people, I guess, if you want, while I write that up.
I want to make sure we deal with these issues one at a time, because it's a lot cleaner to do that. I'll give you a piece of paper. I'll have you write it down if you'd like, or... Sure, be right there. Please be at ease for half a second.
It's not germane. This is a budget. It's never binding. Other businesses never binding. So you could bring it up. Because you have to warn. So it seems that Tim ought to rep
Yeah, I will when it comes out.
Okay. I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
See if he agrees.
Thank you for your indulgence. Mr. DeGray, could you please restate your amendment for purposes of discussion? And could we get him a microphone, please?
Yeah.
I move that we take $251,000 from the undesignated balance of 586,878 for capital projects.
Is there a second?
I would like clarification, regardless of what happens, of my question to use capital money without the body's approval, because I do not believe that you have the authority to spend monies that are not
Mr.
approved by the body.
DeGray, you've made a motion. We need to deal with this first. Thank you. Again, it has been moved and seconded that $251,000 be taken from the fund balance of $586,878 for capital projects. Mr. DeGray, do you wish to speak further or any further discussion? Mr. Woodworth.
Mr. Moderator, while this may be a question that needs to be answered, I would question that this is regarding use of fund balance, and it's not really germane to the article at this point, which talks about how many dollars are we going to spend. And this is a fund balance question that, while it may need to be answered, I would question it being germane to the motion.
Do we have a lawyer in the House? No, we don't. Mr. DeGray, Mr. Woodworth, would you meet me at the podium, please? This will just take a second.
What's his figure, 261? Okay, so this number. So, just to clarify, the motion is adding 261 to that. People should know that. This is an amendment to Article 8. Yeah. So it's adding 261. So we should speak to that. Yes. That's right. Yeah.
We are going to proceed with the amendment proposed by Mr. DeGray to Article Number 8. Discussion on the amendment, we would recognize, I believe, Mr. Rucker for, or is that, yes, go ahead. Mr.
Okay.
Mr. Rucker.
Yes. So just to make sure folks understand, the budget proposed in the earlier article where we voted the $875,000 to be applied to reduce taxes, essentially this is increasing that amount, the 875, to, let's see, if we added the total 251, that's 1,126,000. However, yeah, we did have the 126,000 in the operating budget, so I guess we would take that out and we would come down to $1 million. So the effect on fund balance is, recall the discussion, we are about $2,065,000, assuming that we're giving back the 875. This would lower that fund balance from there down, down to less another 125,000.
Thank you. Further discussion on the DeGray amendment to Article 8. Down at the end of the table, Mr. Collier.
Michael Collier. Frank, what is the...
Make sure you have that mic next to you because nobody can hear you. Thank you.
So we're subtracting an extra $251,000, correct, by the motion?
Well, the change was to take the whole 251. We had already taken 126 out of the operating budget. So the change is essentially to not take 125 from the capital fund, but take it from the undesignated.
Oh, okay, so that really doesn't have any effect on the tax rate?
Let's see. Yeah, it would have in fiscal year 16 a favorable effect because you would be lowering the amount to be raised by taxes by that amount, which is about $0.01 on the tax rate. Yeah.
Thank you. Further discussion on the amendment to Article number 8. Seeing none, all those in favor of the DeGray amendment to move that $251,000 be taken from the fund balance of $586,878 for capital projects. Those in favor of the DeGray amendment, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Nay. The nays appear to have it. The nays have it. The DeGray amendment has been defeated. We revert back to the initial Article number 8. If you'd like that read, I can do that again. If not, we'll continue with the discussion. Further discussion on Article number 8. Seeing none. Again, Article 8 is that the Brattleboro Union High School District number 6 vote to appropriate the sum of $27,888,081 in order to defray expenses and liabilities for the fiscal year 2015-2016. If adopted, portion of the total sum to be raised by taxes to be only that portion not received from revenues or from other sources. All those in favor of Article 8 as read, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. You have passed Article 8. Article number 9. And Article number 9 reads as follows. To see if Brattleboro Union High School District number 6 will authorize the district to accept and expend categorical grants and aid received from the state of Vermont and the United States government. Is there a motion?
Mr. Moderator.
Ms. Barton.
Thank you. I move that the Brattleboro Union High School District number 6 authorize its Board of School Directors to accept and expend categorical grants and aid received from the state of Vermont and the United States government.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded that Brattleboro Union High School District Number 6 authorize its Board of School Directors to accept and expend categorical grants and aid received from the state of Vermont and from the United States government. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 9 as read, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. You've passed Article 9. Article number 10, to see if Brattleboro Union High School District Number 6 will vote to authorize its Board of Directors to borrow money pending receipt of payments from the member districts by the issuance of notes or orders payable not later than 1 year from the date thereof. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes. I move that the Brattleboro Union High School District Number 6 authorize its Board of School Directors to borrow money pending the receipt of payments from the member districts, and not in excess of anticipated revenue for the school year by the issuance of its notes or orders payable no later than 1 year from the date thereof.
Do we have a second? Moved and seconded that Brattleboro Union High School District Number 6 authorize its Board of School Directors to borrow money pending receipt of payments from the member districts and not in excess of anticipated revenue for the school year by issuance of notes or orders payable no later than 1 year from the date thereof. Discussion on Article 10. And seeing no discussion, all those in favor of Article 10 as read, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. You've passed Article 10. We move on to Article 11 to transact any other business that may legally come before the meeting. And the one thing I'd like before we do adjourn is for the clerks to bring up a list of numbers of people from each town to be read into the official record. Any other business to be done under Article number 11? Gentlemen in the center of the room.
Before we get the abysmal numbers that seem to be dwindling every year, I want to thank all of you for coming out. I know we don't always agree, or most of you don't agree with me, but I don't take it personal. One of the things I am most disappointed in this year, extremely disappointed, I hope this is the headline in the paper, and thank you for coming, Olga, is that not one of our state representatives is here at this budget. Education is at the forefront of our legislature this year. Not one of our local legislators, our senators, or any of our representatives from any of our towns are here to talk to us about the critical issue of education funding. And that should be noted, and they should be told about it, they should read about it. They should be able to get down here from Montpelier and come to this meeting and talk to us about what is happening or not happening. I certainly know what I'm reading. I don't agree with what Frank is saying about 2 cents. I think that from what I've heard, the rate is going to be up more, 4 or 5 cents. And what I'm hearing is that the governor wants to take money from the lottery budget, which goes strictly to education, and move it over to another fund. I mean, I want to hear from our legislatures, and all of us should do it. We should be making calls to them and saying, you should be at this meeting giving us a report on what's happening. So I'm really disappointed in all of our representatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion under Article 11, other business that may be attended to at this meeting. All right, time to read it and weep. Among the people attending the meeting tonight, Brattleboro with 7,539 registered voters, 41 of you showed up. That's 0.5% of those eligible. Dummerston, 1,665 on the checklist, 11 showed up. That's 0.7%. Guilford, 1,615 on the checklist, 6 of you showed up. That's 0.4%. Putney, 1,668 on the checklist, 5 of you attended tonight, 0.3%. And Vernon, 1,687 on the checklist, 10 attended, 0.6%. Again, the totals, 14,174 eligible to vote tonight. Not sure we would have put them all, but nonetheless, 73 people showed up, half of 1% of those eligible to vote. Next year, grab your friends, grab your enemies, grab complete strangers, but do it in a way you won't get arrested and bring them to this meeting. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Ms. Barton. Is there a second? All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Those opposed, nay. We are adjourned.